first of all, congratulate all of you for making such a great film. Really enjoy your film, so thank you so much. And I'm not sure new to this country, and I don't know enough about Singaporean films, but I've noticed that 4 out of 5 films, they were depicting the life of Chinese people. And even though Singapore is such a multicultural country, it seems like most films coming out of Singaporean film industry, they're about Chinese people. So I was wondering if there's any reasons for that, or just curious.
Majority are Chinese. Minority are Indians.
Yeah,
and
but
Malays.
How come, I guess this question is, how come the Malays and the Indians are not making anything?
We are more. The population comparison, the Chinese are more.
Yeah, I know,
but
I think it is true that the majority population is Chinese. I think we are 71% or something. But it's not really correct to say that the other races do not make their films. I think for being vested interest, or rather, speaking from a very vested interest point of view, I would say that you have to watch more short films, because there are very, very interesting Malay and Tamil, and in fact Caucasian films that are made in Singapore by Singaporeans. Yeah. But would the filmmakers care to maybe throw some light on that comment? Besides the statistical truth, is there anything else that you all want to say? I would like to ask you actually, so you would be interested to watch films from a varied pool of Singaporeans, I presume?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
And I find it very curious that, because I've just recently read that up until about 1970s, most of the films coming out of the Singaporean films, they were actually Malay, And so, and I suppose the Chinese people are majority here back then. So I'm just curious how the change was made. And
okay. I mean, not to delve too much in history. Oh, Jeremy, you would like to say something? Okay.
Hi. I'm also a part-time filmmaker myself. I would say that most of us, when we set out to make a film, we draw a lot of inspiration or things from our own personal life. So it's quite natural for us to do something that's easy. For us to do something that's, like a Chinese character is easier for us than if we were to do a Malay or Indian character. And same for our Malay and Indian filmmaker counterparts as well. Actually, there are a few, I think there's one Malay film festival coming up called Purnama or something like that, right? It's Purnama, so you can look out for it. There's a showcase of Malay short films. Yeah, you can speak to Iza.
There are actually 2 Malay filmmakers here hiding among you guys. Not to delve into too much of history, but I think the golden years of Singapore cinema ended in the 70s because of the Hollywood invasion. And it's only been, how many years? I think 15 years of a certain semblance of resurgence. But it's an interesting time to observe, I think, as an observer. Yeah. I'll hold the question from you first, because this guy in the red shirt actually asked the question. So maybe you can pass the mic to him. Yeah.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to everyone. I would like to ask all the filmmakers, I always wonder, the intention of making film is because you want to make a film for yourself, or you want to make a film so that you want to bring a message to the audience? Because some filmmakers, they want to make films to express themselves and all this. Then they just say that audience don't understand, it's okay. But some filmmakers would prefer that I will make a film so that audience all will understand. So really, what's your opinion on this? Thanks.
Anyone care to tackle the question?
I think can I just go first? Probably for me, it's for artistic indulgence, because I'm hooked on making it. So that's it.
I love films, so I enjoy making films. But I think, it is partly to express yourself, and also I think in the end, I think art is to communicate. So you hope to give to let somebody be touched or to feel something for your work. But yeah, I think when I start, it's probably always personal first.
For me, I don't think there's actually exactly a universal standard into why do we make films exactly? Because I guess for me, sometimes I do make films, some films I do would like to put across a certain message, but other films are more for like personal reasons, or that I personally feel like it comes from my personal experiences, and it's my personal response to things I experience in my life. So I guess it really varies between, what film you're doing. Yeah.
I think it's both, depending on the film and depending on what you want to say sometimes. Sometimes it's for yourself, sometimes it's to communicate something, sometimes it's both. Yeah.
Thank you.
You had a question?
Hi, I just want to take on the point that this gentleman has raised.
Oh, okay.
I think it's actually a very interesting question in terms of just looking at curatorial programming. I think with the selection of film that is being presented now, obviously it is majority Chinese filmmakers. So I think it actually highlights an issue that I think perhaps the curator could actually take note of in terms of the selection of films, so that we don't project this kind of impression that Singapore filmmakers are only Chinese. Maybe for this screening, it happens that the programming features like all Chinese filmmaker. And I think the other thing is also, I think it's quite risky to kind of like compartmentalize filmmaking into like, oh, these are all Malays filmmakers. I mean, they're very interesting if they're presented in that sense. But if you just look at what Singapore is, I think to most of us, it's interesting to see what each other are talking about, but then I think in terms of racial distinction, I think culturally, if I'm right, like we don't emphasize so much on that. So when we watch film, we are not conscious that we're actually paying attention to like Chinese filmmakers. But I think we actually provide that critical distance in terms of like just getting us to look at in terms of programming, in terms of the kind of voices that we choose to include in the program. How does it benefit you as a visitor to actually hear that array of voices that we have in Singapore? So I think it's more of a curatorial feedback.
I think that's a very good point because, I mean, for those of you who follow Short Circuit, who follow the screening venues, I think we majoritarily have around 3 screening venues of Singapore films in Singapore. There are actually very interesting stuff, pretty well represented, across the races. So again, I mean, I'm not trying to plug anything, but it's really just to watch more films. Then you'll get to see more variety, really. Yeah, Warren.
I'm the program curator actually. Actually, this is just a day. We have several sessions. Like next week, that actually there's no, I don't know how to say it, but when I program the film, it's not based on this race distinction. This doesn't pop up immediately. This need to incorporate several races within the program. More like the film craft and what the film has to say. It's a higher priority than, well, the color of your skin. Yeah, just want to take note of that.
The man in the middle.